All right, so today we are going to be adding some additional information to the methods that we write. So I'm going to do a very brief recap of what we talked about last time, how we can create and call a void method. So if we remember our signature for our void methods, we have our access specifier, which is either public or private, depending on what we want. For right now, everything's going to be public. Then we have our return type. Currently, we're just sticking with using void. We will talk about different return types next class. Our third thing is our method's name, and that's what it's going to do, what the method is going to perform, what action is going to happen. And our fourth thing is our parameter list. So today we are going to focus on thing number 4. We are going to add parameters to our methods. So we're going to put something inside of our parentheses in our method signatures. So our problem is, let's say that I have defined and instantiated an object of the rectangle class. I have made my object and I've given it a width of 10 and a height of 5. What if I want to change the width or height of my rectangle after I have instantiated my object though? What if I want to change one of those two qualities? Is there a way to do that without completely recreating the rectangle? I hear you all asking. And the answer is yes, of course there is. So we are able to create methods and we can add formal parameters to their parameter lists like this. And then if we add some code on the inside, just like when we added formal parameters to our constructors, we are able to add formal parameters to our methods. So we need to give it a type and a name, and that will essentially declare this variable. And then when this method is called, we are going to give that variable whatever value was put in that spot when the method was called. So this method is going to set our width instance variable. So we're going to get a new width value, and we're going to say that our width is equal to that new width value. So we're going to change our instance variable based on whatever new value we got. So just like when we use a constructor, we can add our actual parameters to fill in the slots that have been made available by the formal parameters in our method signature. So if I want to write some code and see how it runs, our first line, we're going to make our rectangle object myRect. When I run this line, I'm going to make my variable, but since I haven't initialized it, it will still be null, so it'll have null in its box. When I call my constructor, when I say new rectangle 10.5, I'm going to fill in my rectangle object with that width of 10, height of 5. So now my rect is going to point towards that rectangle object. If I call myRect.printArea, I'm going to multiply 10 times 5, that is 50, and we'll print 50. And then I'm going to call my setWidth method. 7 is going to get passed into new width. New width is going to go into here. This line of code is going to run. We're going to save new width into our instance variable width, which is going to change what is stored in our box here. So now our width is 7 and our height is 5. And then now that that method is over, we can jump back over into our main and we can call our print area again. and 7 times 5 is 35. So we have changed our area because the width of our rectangle has changed. Does this process for adding a parameter and calling a method using a parameter make sense? Any questions on what I've talked about thus far? All right. Like we talked about with constructors, we are able to overload our methods. And the process is exactly the same. When you have multiple methods that have the same name and have a different set of formal parameters, Java will use the appropriate one when it is called. So if I call my rect.setWidth and pass one value, it will call this method. And if I call setWidth and pass it 0 values, it will run this setWidth method. So just like when we made different constructors for different scenarios, we can do the exact same thing with our methods. Cool? Make sense? All right. Our last little topic. When our methods have multiple formal parameters, just remember that the order does matter. So if I call my rect dot set width and height 10, 5, 10 is going to get passed to new width, 5 is going to get passed to new height, and therefore my width is going to equal 10, my height is going to equal 5. If I swap the order of my 5 and 10, the 5 is still going to go to my first parameter, 10 is still going to go to my second parameter. So now width gets that 5 value and height gets the 10, as opposed to before where it was the other way around. And this idea is especially important when I add, or when I have variables of different types, because now if I try 10.0 and 5, 10.0 is going to get passed into my double value, 5 is going to get passed into my int. That works just fine. But if I try to say 5 and then 10.0, 5 gets passed into my double and then is implicitly typecast. That's fine. But 10.0 cannot be saved into an integer because we will get that lossy types or incompatible types lossy conversion error. So we need to make sure that our order is correct for the parameters that we're passing. And I'm typecasting it to an int here just so that the rest of my rectangle program doesn't break, because width was declared as an integer up higher in our rectangle class, if we recall. Does the ordering of parameters make sense? Just why it matters? All right. Well then, that is our lesson for today.